Hey, Shalom, Shalom, Mishpocha. Welcome to another edition of Ray Bash's Ramblings, and today I'm going to be talking about learning from your enemies. There's a lot of other issues that bleed into what I'm going to talk about, such as giving your fellow man, your fellow believer, your fellow neighbor the benefit of the doubt. What exactly do I mean? Well, for instance, I'm pretty open-minded. And just because I'm open-minded doesn't mean that I'm liberal or doesn't mean that I'm ecumenical. It just means that I'm willing to open my mind to other subjects, other topics, to look at a same topic from a totally opposite and different perspective. Sometimes I'll be walking along with a book. For instance, right now I'm reading a book about Gene Simmons, the lead singer of Kiss. Walking around with a book like that, a lot of people would say, "Oh, what is a rabbi doing? Reading a book like that?" Well, I'm learning from a different perspective. I'm learning from my enemies. Just because I read a certain book doesn't mean that I necessarily endorse what's inside that book. For instance, what possessed me to pick up a biography about Gene Simmons? Well, because number one, he was born in Israel. That's very fascinating, which means he's a Sabra. He's a native Israeli. Not only that, he's Jewish. His name was Chaim Wirtz. I'm just interested to know how, he was born and raised in Israel, and a Jewish family immigrated to the United States and become this rock star. I'm curious about that. I'm curious about what he thinks about religion. I'm curious about his philosophies. Doesn't mean that I'm going to agree with him. Doesn't mean that I'm going to espouse to him. And do I suggest everybody do something like this? Well, no. You need to be rooted and grounded and secure in your beliefs and in your faith before you start branching out and looking at things from different angles and different perspectives. If somebody was still in this searching mode and still in this infancy of their faith, I'd by all means say stay away from stuff like that. That's why, for instance, it's a Jewish tradition for men not to study Kabbalah until they're 40, because if they're still infantile in their faith and still not rooted and grounded, they can take what is said in the Kabbalah and take it out of context. And there's a famous story about 4 Jewish men who studied Kabbalah. One went insane, and one committed suicide, I think, and one became a pagan. And the fourth one, he was the only one who came through as a tzaddik, as a righteous man. That's because his mind was ready for something like that. And I'm not that type. I'm all for interfaith relationships, not necessarily ecumenicalism, but interfaith relationships, in that I believe that you can be friends with somebody of a different faith, a different lifestyle persuasion that you do not agree with or endorse, but you can still love that person and learn from that person, and you can share with that person. If you have such a loving and open relationship with people that are opposite you and who oppose you and doesn't agree with you, that's an open door to show them the God you serve, to show them the faith that you practice. And that's what it's all about, people. So, let's not be too quick to judge other people and give other people the benefit of the doubt when something may come along that, you're like, wow, what's this guy doing? It looks like he's doing this. Give people the benefit of the doubt. For instance, you can learn from your enemies. Take football coaches, sports coaches of all kinds. Before they enter into a game, a conflict on the field, whether it be basketball, baseball, football, hockey, soccer, whatever, they get recordings and tapes of the opposing team's football games. They're studied, they're analyzed, they're scrutinized to see what their philosophy is, to see what their game plan is, to see, their method of operations, to see if there's any weaknesses, anything that you could exploit to your own advantage to be able to win a game. And it's almost the same thing in the spiritual realm. Looking at things through a Buddhist eyes, looking at things through a Christian's eyes, looking at things through a Muslim's eye, looking at things from an atheist's eyes, looking at things, from a totally different perspective. And then you could see how those type of people see you and how you appear to them. I'm reminded of a story by the late Rabbi Shlomo Carlebach. He was one of these rabbis. He was called the Singing Rabbi, the Dancing Rabbi. He had a guitar. He played music, beautiful music, very, very anointed, very spirit-filled. and he was accused of everything improper under the sun because, just like Yeshua the Messiah, he was seen with prostitutes, he was seen with tax collectors, he was seen with the unsavory of society. And similar to Rabbi Shlomo Carlebach, he loved and ministered to everybody. And he said something that has always stuck with me. He said that atheists are some of the most holiest people on earth. Gasp, gasp, oh my gosh, how could the rabbi say such a thing? This was his point. The reason that they're holy is because they act when nobody else will. Because they don't believe in God, because they don't believe in prayer. They don't flippantly turn to somebody and give a smile and turn them away and say, sorry, I can't help you, but God bless you, I'll pray for you. What is that going to do for somebody who doesn't have any clothes? What's that going to do for somebody who doesn't have any food or shelter? What does that do for somebody who's depressed, on the verge of suicide? Oh, God bless you. Be warm and filled, I'll pray for you. An atheist will say, you know what? There is no God. There's nobody else to turn to. If somebody's not going to feed this person, if somebody's not going to clothe this person, if somebody's not going to help this person, then it's up to me. Then I have to do it. If I don't do it, nobody will. That's why atheists are holy. It's because they see a need and they act. Atheists are some of the most charitable people on the face of the earth. Very good philanthropists, very involved in charity organizations and helping other people. Does that mean I agree with them or agree with their philosophy or their choices? No. But at least they have a grip and a handle on something solid that we don't. That's actions speak louder than words. That's what I'm talking about. So, we can learn from our enemies. We can, it's ironic. Just sometimes I'll watch movies and maybe something that Darth Vader will say or something some villain will say will strike me, and I'll chew on it and I'll think on it. And I'll look at it from a biblical perspective and I say, you know what? He's not too far off. I understand what he's saying. So we can learn from other people. We can learn from others that don't agree with us. We can learn from people who we call our enemies. We can learn from other peoples and cultures, as long as you stay rooted and grounded and you are solid in your convictions and in your faith and in your life. So, next time you see a brother or a sister that may be reading something controversial, that may be studying or researching something controversial, or maybe even hanging out with somebody that's questionable, give them the benefit of the doubt. Don't go to them with an accusing, a pointing finger and assume things and accuse of things. Because you know what the old saying about assumption is. If you assume, it makes an ass out of you and me. That's the word assume. Assume. It makes an ass, A-S-S, out of you, and me, M-E. Assume. So, let's not think and let's not feel and let's not act with our fallen, human, deprived, accusatory nature that's always out for a juicy gossip, that's always out for blood. But instead, let's look through the lenses and the eyes of Messiah Yeshua. He didn't see Zacchaeus as a greedy tax collector. He seen compassion and love in him, and he was able to bring it out because of the compassion and love he had. The woman at the well, she was a hussy. She lived with many men. She had illegitimate sexual relationships with many men. Did he exploit that and bring that out and just chew her up one side and down the other and tear her down? No. He went to her in love, and with love, and he saw something in her and was able to draw that out. Just like she drew water from a well, he was able to draw living waters out of her by giving her living water. And he saw the potential. He didn't see the negative. He saw the positive. Peter, he betrayed the Lord, but yet he saw the rock that was within Peter, not this waffling, wafering man. Anyway, shalom and Shavuot Tov. Bye.